How you doing? This is Sam Tolley with In Him First, where we view the world through the lens of Jesus Christ. We never view Jesus Christ through the lens of the world. I got a couple of treasures in my hands that Jehovah Witnesses should be interested in. But first, what I want to say is, I'm so glad we have the internet. Because when I deal with Jehovah Witnesses, they've been trained not to accept anything from me. They are always more than willing to hand us their literature. But they won't accept tracts, literature, or anything from us. Because, see, they've been taught that they have the truth. And, I don't know, maybe what we'll give them will pollute their minds. But the fact of it is, if you have the truth, it will stand up to anything. That's why when I rely on the Bible, the Word of God, I know it will stand up to anything. And if it won't stand up to anything, then I don't need it. But the beauty of the internet is, Jehovah Witnesses, and I know there are some watching me right now, can listen to what I have to say, can see what I present, and they don't have to worry about any elders watching them or getting them in trouble. They can examine for themselves the evidence. They can look at it and see if it lines up with their theology or not. In other words, by visiting websites with apologetics or videos to people that know the Bible, they can be set free. But anyway, get back to the treasures. What we have here is a New World translation of the Christian Greek Scriptures, probably one of the first editions. And this is just the Greek Scriptures. This one is 1950. I believe it may be the first edition. Well, I think I have a second edition here. But anyway, that's fine. And this right here is a New World translation of the Hebrew Scriptures, 1953. So this was before they put them all together. But one of the interesting things that I've noticed about Jehovah's Witnesses, ever since I was a kid, they've always talked about the name Jehovah. The name Jehovah is God's name. And they talk about how it was taken out of the Bible. And they've restored it to the Bible. In the Old Testament and the New Testament, Jehovah's everywhere. The name, that is. But what is fascinating about their own documentation, it's hard to argue with your own documentation. Of course, unless they're going to come in with that old excuse again about having more light. And I've always said that if you're in darkness, you're going to always need more light. So get out of the darkness. Get into the light, and you never need more light. The theology of the Christian church has never changed. It has never needed more light. Whereas Jehovah's Witnesses, when their doctrine changes from time to time, needs more light. So let's see what virtually their first translation of the Greek Scriptures said that even Jehovah's Witnesses should find very illuminating. And I'm talking about the name Jehovah. In the foreword, in the second paragraph, after the first long one, it says the following. While inclining to view the pronunciation Yahweh as the more correct way, we have retained the form Jehovah because of people's familiarity with it since the 14th century. Moreover, it preserves equally with other forms the four letters of the Tetragrammaton, JHVH. So the Jews, they got to the point where they didn't want to say God's name. All they kept was the four consonants. So no one actually knows what God's name is. They don't know it's Jehovah. They think more than most people think that it is Yahweh. But here the Watchtower in tract society, Jehovah Witnesses in their own Bible that they disseminated to everyone, stated that Yahweh is the more correct way. And they took the form Jehovah because people were familiar with it. Now what is that? If they're supposed to be God's true religion, if they're supposed to be the right religion, if they're supposed to be who we are supposed to rely on. What is that? So why don't they call themselves Yahweh's witnesses instead of Jehovah's witnesses? Answer that question. I mean, it's in their book. It's not mine. I didn't put this in here. They did. This is Sam Tolley with In Him First. Share the gospel in love with your Watchtower friend. And pray that their eyes will open and they will come out of that cult into the glorious light of Jesus Christ, who is not only the Son of God, but God the Son. I'm out.